So then I kind of blamed Ozempic.
So it doesn't work when you get off of it. Like you have to be on it. So it's not.
I gained double the weight back after.
If you take Ozempic or GLP-1 medications and then you stop, you're going to gain twice as much weight back after you start. Now, is that true? Well, that's what's been kind of going on. People have been talking about it a lot on TikTok specifically. This conversation with the GLP-1s, the Ozempics, the Wegovy's, Mounjaros, all the different ones. A lot of people have, there's been more and more people talking about them, and there's been more and more people taking them, and then there's been more and more people sharing their experience with taking them. Now, this medication, I think, is the closest thing that I've ever seen to some sort of like miracle drug to help people lose weight. And I will share my thoughts a little bit more, I think, towards the end of this video. But today we are going to be talking about this. It's this TikTok that I actually saw. And this is actually from my friend, Dr. Tommy. And this is the very first part of the TikTok. I just want to play the very first part right here.
So it doesn't work when you get off of it.
I gained double the weight back after.
So that was Remi Bader saying that she gained double the weight back after she had gotten off of Ozempic. Now, this was from a podcast that I think happened about a year ago. So I kind of went and tried to find the podcast, but I saw this clip that was kind of a perfect little, it kind of explained what was happening. So this is from E! News, I believe. And it says, Remi Bader after Ozempic, I gained double the weight back. Just to give you a little bit more context on that clip that was played.
I was like, I bet the second I go off, I'm going to get starving again. I did, and my binging got so much worse.
TikTok star Remi Bader details her past experience with the drug Ozempic and says she gained double the weight back after using it. The content creator opens up on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast with Amanda Hirsch, saying,
I get triggered by so many things with weight because I am also sensitive to it in a way that I'm like almost annoyed that it's this trendy thing now when I went on it for like actual
Why were you
issues.
offered it to go on?
Pre-diabetic, insulin resistance, gaining 50 to 80 pounds, like reasons that
But
like
I wasn't judging real reasons.
right, and I think that's what people are mistaking right now with a lot of.
It's interesting because hearing this clip, you can tell that she's almost trying to prove that she was allowed to take this or that she actually needed it. Where, the way I see it, I don't judge anyone. If someone wants to take Ozempic because they just want to lose weight, they can go down that. The only time I don't want to say I judge, but that I think maybe it's not the best is if you're only trying to lose like 15, 20 pounds. I think that that's a little bit extreme. But if you're someone that's, pretty overweight and you think that Ozempic will help you, there's no judgment from me for that.
People that are talking about it.
According to FDA.gov, Ozempic is a prescription medication taken by injection and typically used to help lower blood sugar in people with type 2 diabetes. But NBC News reports that Ozempic has recently increased in popularity as an off-label weight loss drug. Remi goes on to say she was prescribed the medication just after it was FDA approved.
Like you were offered it not for vanity. You were offered it because your doctor thought.
Yeah, and also it was brand new. And I just was like, they said I need this.
She then outlines her experience after stopping Ozempic.
Once I was, a few months later got into the bad binging and went off it, and I saw a doctor and they were like, it's 100% because you went on Ozempic because it was making me think I wasn't hungry for so long. I lost some weight. I didn't want to be obsessed with being on it long term, and I was like, I bet the second I go off I'm gonna get starving again. I did, and my binging got so much worse.
So the thing that I have from what I've seen from friends of mine that are doctors and just the information that I've seen online, especially now, if you do decide to take Ozempic or a GLP-1 medication, it's very much so laid out. This is a chronic medication, right? This is not something that that they would recommend you just take for a little bit to lose the weight and then you get off of it and then all of a sudden everything is solved. That is not how it is marketed. That's not, I don't know how, because again, this was a year ago, so that was a little bit earlier in its life cycle, so maybe it was a little bit different then, but that is definitely, I would say anyone, I'm sure there's people that are watching this video, I would hope that the doctors that you worked with, they let you know this is something that you're supposed to stick with, and that's, again, why it should be something that you think about and really weigh the options and make sure that you are okay with that being the case for you and you are, financially stable enough to be able to afford it, because it's not cheap, especially if you're not able to, have insurance help you. So again, yes, this is something that helps a lot of people, but it is not the one size fits all answer that everyone thinks it might be, right? There are negatives to it, and this is a huge negative, right? It is something that you have to stay on for a long time, right? That's something that a lot of people talk a lot about.
So then I kind of blamed Ozempic.
So it doesn't work when you get off of it. Like you have to be on it. So it's not.
I gained double the weight back after.
So that's like all we need to really watch as far as that video, because that's kind of, you know, we've talked about Remi before. We know about this stuff. So again, I do want to go back to this TikTok from Dr. Tommy, who, again, if you guys don't know, Dr. Tommy is a friend of mine who he's helping me with my training for my half marathon. So again, we're definitely like friends, but this has really nothing to do with that. It's really just him sharing information about Ozempic, which I just thought it was really good. So I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm going to use your TikTok, okay? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And so let's go and kind of see what he says about this.
So it doesn't work when you get off of it.
I gained double the weight back after.
If you stop taking Ozempic or any of the other GLP-1 agonist medications, will you gain double the weight back? If only we had research to tell us this answer. Thankfully, we do. But before we get to that, I just want to say that I cannot tell you about her individual experiences. If she says that she gained double the weight back after she stopped taking Ozempic, then I'm going to believe her. But it's important to know, if that did happen to her, just because it happened to her does not mean that's the norm for everyone else who stops taking it. So since we cannot...
And I think it's important. Obviously, Remi has a huge following. And so I think stuff like this, like maybe she just said that as an off comment, not really meaning I actually gained double the weight back. But as Tommy will explain, clearly that's not what happens to most people, right?
Extrapolate one individual person's experience to a large population. What do? We look at research. And the research that we have right now come from the STEP trial. So there was a step 1 trial which showed that people lost a significant amount of weight with semaglutide. This is something that I think pretty much everyone knows now. The GLP-1 medications are incredible medications to help with weight loss. But the big question that arises is, well, if I stop that medication, am I going to gain the weight back? Am I going to gain all the weight back, double the weight back? And so what they did...
Which, that's a fair thing to be worried about, right? I think that is completely understandable, right? Especially if these medications are not free and it's not like something you could just go grab. It's not like you're just grabbing Advil that's like not that expensive that you could afford to, you know, just have a supply of. Like, this is something that's very expensive, or at least it's cost prohibitive to a certain amount of people. And so having that fear is completely understandable, in my opinion, right?
What they did is they took the step 1 trial and extended it, and they allowed people to stop taking the medication to see what happened. So when we look at the step 1 extension trial, what we see is that when people stop the medication, they do regain weight, but it's not double the weight back, and it's not really all the way back either. In this study, it showed that on average, they gain about 2/3 of the weight back, which is a significant amount. But it's also important to know...
That is a good amount, right? And so say you... Okay, I'm not going to try and do math, but say you lost 60 pounds, you'd end up gaining, is that like 40 of it back? So that's a good amount, but that is still 20 pounds down. So, you know, there still is some weight, but again, that's something that you should know and be aware of before you decide to take this medication, right?
To know, not only did they just stop semaglutide, they also stopped their intensive lifestyle regimen that they had been put on as well.
So that's obviously very important as well, right? And so if you decide to go off of the medications and then go back to what you were doing before, of course, your outcomes are probably going to be quote unquote worse than someone that decides to stay on it. And I think it's the same thing when we look at people that get weight loss surgeries, right? A lot of times, clearly the people that end up gaining all of their weight back, which does happen sometimes with weight loss surgery, they did not take the steps to change their lifestyle, and they went back to the same things that they were doing before. And I'm not saying that as that person's a terrible person and they should feel bad about it, but that's just to say how important, like all of these things, the GLP-1 medications, weight loss surgeries, all of those things are tools in a toolbox. But if you do not take and start to work on the things that are going on in your head, the reasons that you are eating those things, maybe you're an emotional eater. Why are you eating emotionally? What emotions are you eating to cover up? There are so many other things that go into why someone would be at a size where they would need to get weight loss surgery or need to take semaglutide medications that need to be worked on in conjunction with a GLP-1 medication or weight loss surgery, if that is the step that needs to be taken, right? Not everyone is going to need that. And I don't advocate for everyone to to take weight loss medications, to get weight loss surgery. But I also do not shame anyone for deciding to take that weight loss medication or the weight loss surgery. What I do want to make very clear to anybody that's watching this video or any of my videos is to understand what these things can do and what they cannot do, and make sure you are aware of that before you decide to take this literally life-altering step and making this life-altering decision. It's very important that you are aware of all of the things that are going on. And so that's why I'm really glad that Tommy made this video and shared this information.
What does this mean? It means that obesity is a chronic medical condition that's going to need ongoing lifestyle modifications and potentially medications to help keep the weight off. And that is okay. No one should feel any stigma behind needing to use medication for weight loss or to keep weight off. We are not all playing on the same playing field. We all have a different biological makeup, and for some of us, medications may be needed. And that is completely okay.
Yep.
Lastly, you may be asking, well, what if I want to stop the medication? I've lost the weight that I want to, but I just want to see if I can stop it. What I genuinely tell people is try it. Go a period of time off of the medication and see if you can maintain your weight off of it. And if you can, that's incredible. But if you can't, there should be no stigma, and there's no reason not to go back on it. At the end of the day, it's your decision and what you believe is best for your health. So if you want to trial off of it, just talk to your physician about it and give it a shot. Or don't give it a shot. Anyway, to end with, if you struggle with obesity, do not let people tell you you shouldn't be on a medication for weight loss. It's just willpower. That's not true. Studies show that it's not true. Do not feel bad for using medication to help you.
So I really liked some of the comments on this as well. So like the top one, right? I've been off Ozempic for 6 months now and I've kept all the weight off, right? And then of course there's still people saying you have to make a lifestyle change, but people are too lazy to do that. Like, yes, you have to make a lifestyle change, but again, it's more than just laziness, in my opinion. I understand where people are coming from when they say that, but I feel like that is just too black and white of a way of thinking, right? But again, keep going. I haven't gained anything back, lost 100 pounds, and I'm still 100 pounds down after 3 months of being off of it. It's the same thing as having a gastric bypass. You lose the weight and you have to stick to a diet and habit that's good. If not, yeah, you will regain. I lost 58 pounds on it, stopped taking it, and haven't gained a pound back, right? Like, so then this needs to be made affordable, period. Agreed, right? And that I think is super important. And so this is just really interesting to me. I think we are in like basically the Wild West with these weight loss medications and how popular they're becoming and how many people are taking them. There are good and there is bad, and I think talking about this is a good thing, you know, and talking about it in a nuanced way, not just weight loss medication makes you lazy, LOL, you should just do it naturally, stop it, or weight loss medication is the best thing for everybody, there's no negatives, and if you talk about the negatives, that means you must hate fat people. There's nuance to it, right? And so I just thought this was really, really interesting. When I saw this TikTok, I was like, I have to talk about this. But let me know what you think down in the comments down below. If you're someone that is taking Ozempic, or you've thought about taking a GLP-1, or you are on one, let me know. Like, how has your experience been on it? And especially if you're someone that took it for a while and now you're off of it, like, how has that been for you? I'm genuinely very curious. But let me know. And thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you next time. Peace.